All right, we're going to call the meeting to order at 7:42 p.m. I think we're going to skip the Pledge of Allegiance since all of us were here previously. I don't think we necessarily need to do it twice, although I do love the country. Any announcements?
Just that Nick Watson's here in his role as moderator, and so when we get to the warrants and petition article, we'll want to check in with Nick.
You might have to wait a little because Martin and Dwayne in the other room. You're here for me? And is somebody taking notes? Because I think Wendy's in the other room too.
I will, yep.
Okay. All right, moving along, do we have a motion to approve the minutes, meeting minutes from January 9th, 2025 and January 23rd, 2005? Melanie has made that motion. Do we have a second? Seconded by Angela. Any discussion?
Yes. Twice, yeah, right. I saw that.
Okay.
That's going to be an autocorrect. I think it is.
I had a couple on the January 9th. Let's see, section 4 in public comment. Mary Beth Walls is W-A-L-Z, and it also referred to her, she as he. So just those two in that section. And then also her name, same thing in section 8D at the very bottom of it. It's a very lengthy section. At the very bottom of it, same thing.
Oh, okay.
It was just misspelled. Otherwise, that was it for me. Anybody else have anything else? Melanie, are you comfortable with revising your motion subject to the changes we discussed? Angela, still want to second it? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Moving along, no special presentations. Any additional public comment? What was that, Brenda? Hearing none, moving right along. SAU reports, anything to add to your report?
I don't have anything to add, no.
Any questions for Marcy?
I will say, I think I shared this in an email to you, but obviously there's a lot happening right now with new administration, and there's been a number of executive orders that have been released, and we're working closely with our associations and with legal counsel before we make any sort of changes.
Actually, can you expand on that just a little bit? I mean, there's so much things going on with it's not that there's changes, there's so much conflicting precedent or whatever the word is between all these different bodies right now. Like do all of like the SAUs kind of band together and try and make unified, like, well, we know we're going to violate this law and we're going to support this law, or is it just a free-for-all and every district's just kind of like,
So a couple things. So as an example, just today, New Hampshire School Board Association did release new Title IX guidance because that was one of the executive orders that came out. So it reverts back to the 2020 version, and they provided us with a red line document around how to make those changes again. NHIA also came out and released a statement today with regard to those executive orders around transgender females playing in sports, and they don't take a position. So that has remained unchanged. There's a couple of others around programs surrounding diversity and equity. That really relates mostly to the federal level, and then, or if we were funding any of those positions with federal dollars. And then there's obviously ICE, and so how that affects immigration activities in our schools. I don't anticipate that we'll see a lot of any of that here, hopefully, but definitely schools in the state will.
So I know, like, prior administration, 2020, we adopted that policy, and then I feel like we just finally got around to adopting so now do we have to go back and revise that policy again?
Yes.
And are you working?
Yep, so New Hampshire School Board, we were waiting for, before we make any changes, waiting for them to kind of weigh in.
Right, now that they have, I guess.
Yep, and so they provided, that came just this afternoon, and so Jess and I will work together and take a look at it and make some proposed changes.
And so with everything else, like, are you going to maybe do some sort of
I don't know, things are changing like almost daily. So how do we keep the board and administration and our community kind of abreast on what these, so if they change something federally, like if it's not changed within the state, like do we have to change it or we don't have to change it? And maybe that depends on what it is, and how can we keep us all kind of abreast of that?
These meetings will be an ideal place for that. Again, I think in my email to you, I just said we're going to go slowly and carefully so that we make sure we're not misstepping. A lot of those executive orders don't apply to us. There's a lot of questions around what's happening with the Federal Department of Education. That definitely will have an impact. I think actually the K-12 public education is a small part of the DOE at the federal level. The large part of that is around post-secondary ed, and the financial piece is tied to that. So right now, it looks like those will be funneled into different departments. But that's going to take a long time. So I don't expect any changes there anytime soon. The other executive orders, they do give timelines of you have 60 days to implement or to report out on DEI programming, as an example.
Okay.
It's impossible. I mean, you've got, you'll have an executive order on something, and then a day or two later, you'll have some federal judge issue some injunction that
Right.
says the order can't be enforced.
Right.
And then you have the state doing potentially something even different. Like, there's no right answers right now, it feels like.
Yeah, I think you've already seen a lot of these orders, or some of these orders get tied up in exactly that, right? So they have put stops on them, or they've kind of backpedaled. The federal funding freeze was the first example of that. So I think that's why we have to be really slow and methodical in whatever it is that we roll out. And we'll lean on support from our state associations.
Yeah, and I think it might be a good thing to mention to people who are here and people streaming that coming here and asking questions if they're confused, because I know that some parents have stated that they're a little bit concerned, not feeling very secure in knowing what's going to happen, and that can add fear to the mix. So I think knowing that we can be that place to come,
Yep.
get information, even though it might change in an hour, but at least for right then, they know that we're going through it together.
Yeah, absolutely. These meetings during public comment or at any time, they can reach out to any one of us via email or give us a call at the office, and we're happy to talk it through.
That's great.
Anything else for Marcy? I had one. In your write-up, you talked about the BES renovation, and you said because the project's gone so well, we will be able to do additional projects that initially were cut from the project. What are those projects, and what's that cost?
Well, those are going to come to the board, the proposals for, so one of the ones that the committee or the construction group that met each week would like to do are the doors in the rest of the building and the floors. And so they have pricing on that, and we'll bring it to the board to make that final decision. But those are the two major ones.
Do you know when? Like in March?
This summer. So,
No, but when will it come to us?
yeah, so we're waiting for a final kind of summary from DEW. And I think when we get that, then we'll have, Dwayne will have it to go over. And then the official last day, I believe, is tomorrow for the final worker from DEW to leave. And then the proposal would be for them to come back in June.
So one other thing, Marcy, just in case people watching, I remember getting my tour with Lori and kind of walking around, and some of those doors, it's not just for aesthetics, right?
Right.
Some of those doors are actually broken.
Yes.
A lot, like the key doesn't open it, or there's other issues. So that's why it's not just something.
It's definitely not just aesthetics. We probably wouldn't make that recommendation if it was just aesthetics. But yes, there are doors that don't close or lock properly. There's kind of a whole host of issues with them. We've replaced the ones in the main entryway. So when you go and do a tour there, you'll see what the doors will look like if we're able to do them for the rest of the building.
Yeah, I guess I just think it's kind of important to put that out there because right now all of these people are getting pretty high tax bills. And so for them to realize that we're still really cognizant of the amount of money that this whole project costs and we're not asking for anything that wasn't first recommended.
Correct, yeah, so this isn't a request for additional money, it's because of savings that have been realized during the project. So as an example, last year was wasn't a strong winter, right? We didn't have a lot of storms, so we recouped some money there because we didn't have to heat as much, we didn't have to worry about as much snow removal, and so there were cost savings there. So those things have added up over time, and we're hopeful to be able to do other things.
And I think it's just important to note to that point, we took out the bond for 12.5 million. You can't give that back.
You can't give it
Like,
back.
we have 12.5 million
I
to
know.
spend.
I
So,
just- I know,
Yeah,
but I
I know,
want
I'm
them
just
to-
saying,
I
I'm just
want
saying,
them-
like, it's not like we're asking for extra money.
No.
This
Right,
is money
right.
that's here that we have to do something with.
Exactly.
All right, anything else? Jess, anything to add to your report?
No, I was going to make comments about the Title IX piece that you saw in my report, but Marcy addressed that, so I'm good. Any questions, though, I can answer?
I just, in your legislative update, I know we were talking about the federal government, but it seems like there are a lot of proposed things at the state level. Do you get a sense that a lot of these will have traction? Like, are you going to be very busy with reading your list of things, all these? It sounds like a lot. Like, I'm not quite sure how you're going to.
Yeah, some of it might be. I go to some of those hearings, and it's sort of a mixed bag about how people want that to go. I think some of those are funding pieces, so that's always important to pay attention to as well. The local parent association could actually be a good thing for local communities, so if it's work and it's good work, then I'm willing to do it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? No? Owen?
I have nothing to add unless you have any questions.
I have one comment, which the Great Escape, you'd mentioned a couple alternate venues. I'll give you the contact information. There's a guy in Bow who's like, I don't know his military title, but he's like head of the National Guard in New
Okay.
Hampshire or something. And I know, I've talked to him in the past about, they have a facility in Pembroke that has a turf field and has an indoor basketball stadium and all this kind of stuff,
Yeah,
which
that's-
I've never been to, but.
That's one of the locations where
Okay, because he always seemed interested in getting people to come there.
it's, in a
It's
lot of
really
ways, it's
nice.
perfect.
Yeah,
It's really nice.
okay.
That's where our students went for Starbase. So they have a couple of classrooms there. They have an auditorium, or like
Yeah.
a mini auditorium, but it's nice.
Yeah.
So how much do you think that this would lower the cost? Because last year when we revisited this and we talked about the cost, it was, I believe, around $1,000 a participant to do the Great Escape.
No, it was about $400 to pay them to do it.
No, I mean like that, but with all of the, where you went and
Yeah, it
having the
was-
speakers.
Overall, it was $10,000 for the overnight portion of it for renting the location. The National Guard is a significant cost savings. I can't tell you the total amount because I haven't gotten the quote from them, but to put it in perspective, to have a bed at the National Guard is $4 a night, so that's pretty cheap. And the other one, I always draw a blank when I'm thinking about the college, but the one in New England.
Colby Sawyer.
Colby Sawyer. It's a lot cheaper, and they're really willing to work with us, and the location itself is gorgeous. So it would just be,
Yeah, it's great.
it's nice to change things up every now and again anyway, so.
Yeah, but how much was the Great Escape? Because you were also talking about having other people come in to kind of balance the cost. Are you doing that? Are
No,
you
we
not?
didn't get a lot of traction with that last year, so we're not going to put a lot of effort into it. We're going to just put a lot of effort into cost savings initially so that it just doesn't cost as much the next time around.
Oh.
Because we lost all that grant funding anyways, so we need to trim the budget.
So is that also going to be with speakers as well?
We'll have one that's one of your traditional speakers, and they cost $6,000 for 2 days, so it costs a lot of money.
That's not
We'll
bad.
have one of those, but we want to bring New Hampshire ED in this year because we just don't take advantage of what the New Hampshire Department of Education offers, and they offer a ton. And we want to have a track for that, but we also want to bring in our own staff again. We did that previously, so we want to bring them in to share their expertise, so.
Yeah,
Yep.
that sounds great.
I had a question about the LinkedIn. It says that you're looking into the feasibility. Who are we thinking is going to help with that? Is that guidance department? Is that teachers? Is that classrooms?
Well, I mean, ideally, I think you would definitely want to use staff here, but if we could bring Robert Nato, Professor Nato in, he was amazing, and he would love to sit down with students and kind of walk them through how they could leverage LinkedIn to their own benefit, whether they're going to secondary ed or they're going directly into the workforce. Just the stuff that he showed us, it was pretty awesome. I just never thought about it, and I can't wait to see some kids take advantage of it.
Yeah, I wonder if that would, I mean, LinkedIn's no joke, like in the professional world,
No.
like, that's where people go.
Yep.
And I wonder what happens if you're fooling around, like you put some,
So he addressed that, and he basically said LinkedIn's just going to shut you right off. They'll shut you off they'll give you a warning, and it's like 2 weeks, but then it's 30 days, and then it's just like, forget it. So it's not like Facebook or Instagram.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like, serious,
Yep.
basically. Excellent. Good transition, gentlemen.
I would say that LinkedIn thing would definitely be very helpful. I just downloaded it and made an account. I have absolutely no idea how to use it, so. I know, and it's like, I don't even know where to start, but I followed Bow High School on it, so that's a
That's what we
start.
want.
It's a start. I don't really have anything to add, Matthew, if you do.
You don't have an update, Trevor?
I don't. Well, okay. Okay,
I heard there was an announcement.
there was an announcement about what?
Have you decided on where you're going?
I have decided on where I'm going. I'm going to Notre Dame, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Very nice. Very nice.
I should put that on there. Yep, so that's exciting, but
Very-
anyways. Okay, yeah, actually, we'll talk about Model UN because that was fun. We actually had some really unique committees this year. We had 2 people in a specialized committee called the Turning of Quattrocento, which was a bunch of Italian artists from like, I don't even know what century, like, yeah, Renaissance era. And they did a simulation on, I honestly couldn't even tell you, but my roommate was in it, and he got woken up at 1 a.m. to do a committee session for 3 hours, so 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. And then that woke me up too, so I was a little grumpy the next morning, but it was fine. And then we also had someone in press corps, which is the first year we had that, where they go around to each committee in the conference, and they kind of like write articles on it and stuff, so that was really cool. But sorry if I took your...
Oh, yeah. I mean, all I have to say is that I did Myanmar at the World Fair. We were talking about World Fair in the report, so.
Yeah. I think he had the best food out of all the World Fair
He
stations.
did, I tried it.
You tried it?
I don't remember what it was called.
So good. I couldn't.
It
what
was
is it called?
samosa toka.
I
So,
It was very good. It was very good.
So what's in the samosa? Because I've had different samosas. I love them.
well, it's like a soup made or salad kind of a thing made out of samosas. So it's like you chop up the samosas and you put it in a soup kind of like wonton soup.
So on the back
Yeah.
page of this is the recipe?
That's funny.
Any other questions, comments? No? Moving on?
It was School Board Appreciation Month in January, and you guys weren't here, and I believe
When's your last, are you guys at the same time that we are? Is your term end?
Oh, yeah.
In March?
Yeah, March. We're
Yeah.
Student Senate has started talking about elections, and we'll run those in March. And then the new representatives will be here for the April meeting, so.
You guys want to participate in the townwide school
Yeah.
board thing?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Do a warrant, can they do a warrant article if they wanted to or something?
Oh, we did talk about that.
Yeah, we
last-
did.
Got it. We want
Sure.
to give you a, like.
I'll do
a-
one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
okay.
got 3
All
things
right.
to put on LinkedIn.
Article 2. I know.
There we go. Great start.
All right, well, Nick, we'll be talking about that. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, Lori, is Lori here? Yeah, you do. You do. It's right behind Marcy.
Hi, yes, DEW leaves tomorrow. It was a little bittersweet. Can't say that some of the workers and staff haven't had a few tears. So they are done with the bulk of their work. There's one person left. They were working on doors today as we were finishing that. Our warranty started on January 31st, 2025. So for a year, if something breaks, I type something in and someone appears. So that's pretty cool. And then also we did present on Friday to the New Hampshire Eddies for Elementary School of the Year. 12 of us went over, 4 students, 6 adults to present. Beth was with us. Piper was with us. And we're optimistic. We hope to be chosen to go on to the next round where they come to visit us. It was, however, an amazing experience. We really had fun once we did it, getting ready to go. So we're hopeful. We got some good feedback as we left.
Any questions or comments for Lori?
So Lori, was that videotaped or anything? Is it
No.
anything that we can put on the website? Or?
No, we're trying to look at our PowerPoint and see how we can transform it. We had like snippets of videos where we had different people, but we had to present based on the rubric. So it was also to make the rubric look exciting and personable. So no, you can't
'Cause
videotape.
that would be so cool. 'Cause
It would,
you had
yeah.
to like talk about what makes
Yeah.
PBS
It-
special, right?
So we're trying to make our PowerPoint more engaging than how we used it to present for, it was a 35-minute presentation with 10 minutes for questions, so it's a lot.
Well, good luck.
Anything else? Adam, anything to add to your short report?
Yeah, just one thing, and I promise I don't intend to take this way field, I promise. We have gotten the DPA signed with SmartPass. We are ready to try and do SmartPass rollout 2.0. We did ask for feedback. We gave a mechanism for feedback to come in after the last board report. We didn't get a ton of feedback, but we did get we got about 17 replies, 4 of which were having questions or concerns, and the remainder being pretty positive. We reached out to all 4 folks who had identified themselves as having like some concerns. Concerns fell into a couple buckets. One was around data privacy. We shared the data privacy basically page from SmartPass itself, like this is what they put out there that they do. In addition to that, we addressed some concerns that were around just length of pass. We tried to extend time frames so that people wouldn't feel undue pressure. Tried to set people's mind at ease that even if there's already a certain number of people in the bathroom, we're not going to tell you no if it's an emergency. Essentially tried to address the concerns that were brought forward. I do think it's a really good tool. I do think it's going to be helpful. And like anything, you try it, and if it's not what we think it's going to be in June, then we'll make a new decision. But I do think that the product itself has a lot of upside. It should help with school safety in terms of you're going to know where everybody is all the time. And that's also the con. I mean, and I get that. I understand there's 2 sides to every coin. But it's also going to be a really powerful tool for if you have a bullying situation in your building. I mean, it's just a natural, easy fix where, okay, all of a sudden, Lori and Adam are in a conflict and they can't be out of the room at the same time. Like SmartPass will shut one down or the other. Not perfect, but it's going to help. So we're looking to have teachers roll that out to kids and explain what's going to happen one day in advance of going live, whether we go live on Wednesday or Thursday or even next Monday. We'll kind of work that out internally in the building. But I'm going to put a letter out to families at the same time just to let them know, because we don't want any surprises. We want to be above board and kind of transparent with the process. So that's the only update I have for you this month.
Well, it seems like you went above and beyond to me. A subject we talked about for like an hour, I think, at the last meeting. You've surveyed
Sorry
people.
about that.
Sounds like you got 4 people you have 530 kids in the school. You had 4 people with some concerns. You addressed those concerns. The feedback you got was, you guys are the experts. Sounds like go with your gut and do the best you can and see how it works out.
Thank you.
Any questions for Adam?
There's one thing I'm going to add, because you know my opinion. But I talked to 4th grade parents who are going to have a 5th grader next year, and they did not know about that. So as you reach out to Bo and say, hey, this is coming down the pipe, it might be worthwhile going forward thinking about well, next year I'm going to have a whole set of new students in the building, and want to survey those parents too.
We could certainly work it into our like back to school, or not our back to school night, but we do that orientation night coming over. We could explain that process when they come over that night. That might be a good time for it.
And also for our students that are coming from Dunbarton to kind of consider, because I'm assuming they don't have it, right?
Same thing. We could do that through our transition process. We do a similar open house for Dunbarton families, and we also do a similar kind of integration piece with kids as they come over. We do some transition days.
So one thing that I did hear, Adam, and I think I talked to you privately about it, but that some of the girls in middle school, it's kind of a tough time. So it sounds like you've addressed like that they know that they can go as often as they want and have the time that they need.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that was a common concern that came up, and I think our staff is very sensitive to that. We'll use good judgment, and the goal here is not to create a high burden, but to do a better job kind of essentially doing a function we've done for a long time, which is having kids sign out to go to the bathrooms.
No, I used it, I mean, I didn't have the technology, but as an educator, you sign it out and you start to see some patterns, but you can't do that for every single class and throughout a whole day for a whole week to be able to find those patterns like Beth did. Thank you, Beth, that one time. So that I think that this is going to be really great. So hopefully it is.
Thank you.
Matt, anything to add to your report?
Yep, just quickly, we had our winter semi-formal dance on Saturday, went very well, students were great, and in my 6 years, we had more staff chaperone, which I think speaks really highly of our staff, keep going above and beyond. We have a school meeting that will take place next Wednesday. The staff are going to play against the unified basketball team. So it should be a fun event. We've tried throughout the year to try to build as many community events throughout the school year to raise school spirit, and I think we're seeing the benefits of that. And then lastly, I just want to give a quick shout out to our school counseling department. I think our school counseling department is the best department of any high school in the state. Kate, Emily, Nicole, Dan, and Martha. They are in the midst of scheduling students for classes next year. At the same time, they were getting grades out to colleges and universities for our seniors. They do an amazing job, and our students are really lucky to have them.
Excellent. Any questions for Matt?
I'd just like to make a comment, Matt, that so we were there for that night, for the information night, and it is just, I am so excited. My daughter is so excited to go into high school. She's going to be sad to miss you, Adam, but no, so excited. It just sounds wonderful, and everybody that we've worked with, it's I think it's just going to be a great experience, and all the programs you guys have, the classes that you have. My husband turned to me and said, I want to go back to high school. So I think that's a good sign. So thank you. Please let everybody that was there know it was a wonderful presentation.
Chris, anything to add to your report?
Just real quick, we had a personnel change. Sam Palumbo, who we hired as a contractor in July, who did an excellent job this year. Just a great kid, great personality, hard worker, very technically proficient, recent grad from UNH, CS grad. So he has a bright future. He made us well aware that IT is really not his first choice. He's more into software engineering, so he was looking out for that particular career field. We were lucky enough to replace Sam with an individual who has school IT experience. Gino Sciannotti has previously worked at Dairy Cooperative School District, so the systems at that school district are similar to what we have here at Bow. He has a really good personality, smart guy. He's been able to step right up and, run with the high school tech assistant position. So we're lucking out this year with our personnel, so.
Excellent. Any questions for Chris? No? Mike's laid up. How about Beth? Anything to add to your report? Anything for Beth? No? All right. Manifests and vouchers. Is that maybe Angela?
Yep.
I can read it. Do I make a motion? Sorry, this is my first time doing this. $4,234,238.17.
Do we have a second?
Second that.
Melanie, second. Any discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. No resignations, no retirees, no new hires. Let's get to the policy. Fire away, Marcy.
Yep, so we have policy BEA that I sent out is school board meetings, our regular school board meetings. I've highlighted a section in there where we're addressing the request to have our meetings live streamed. So I worked with Will Phillips at the New Hampshire School Board Association on this language, and so his recommendation was to add it to BEA. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Melanie and I went through it as well. Just I think the emphasis from us was just we don't want to cancel meetings or things if the technology doesn't work, and yet felt the need to include in their language that we're not expecting that to be a regular occurrence, but
Right.
if it happens, we want to keep plowing on with what we're doing. But if it becomes a problem, then we'll rectify the problem and make change.
Correct.
I think we wanted to also have a discussion about how long the videotapes are held. I think we saw different ways of kind of dealing with that, so maybe that's something that the board.
Yeah, I mean, the board ultimately makes this decision. It's my role to provide some guidance or advice. I talked to some other superintendents where they do have live streaming, which is not a ton. And one area that I thought was fair is to have it out there for a month. And then when the minutes are approved from the prior meeting, then that meeting would no longer be accessible on our YouTube channel, as an example. We looked at the analytics from the meetings that have been live streamed. They are looked at essentially within that first week. And so then after that, it's almost non-existent. The average viewer time was 8 to 12 minutes.
I just worry that, I just think like keeping it on, like just say like keep it on for a year, might make it so if people missed out, life was crazy that month or whatever, they can go back and watch it.
I'm just not sure what the benefit of that is. Like, we talk about stuff, we make decisions about stuff.
But there's no negative either. Like, it doesn't cost us.
There is, and I think I talked a little bit about this. So the meeting minutes are what captures the decisions that are made and action that's taken during a school board meeting. Those are available, always available on our website. We have had meetings, one recently, where it was very contentious, for me professionally, I don't want that meeting to live out there forever. I don't think that's fair, and I think there are going to be times when the board, we may use a student's name by accident. We may have a personnel matter that's accidentally brought in during a public session. We can't have those things out there, and I think, in fairness to people on the board, for the really hard work that you're doing, I don't think you want someone to manipulate what it is that you've said or represented in a meeting. So I think the idea that it would live out there for eternity, I think, is a challenging idea for me.
I think back also to the public that stands and states their name and address, and that got used against them, some of them. And I think you have that out there for a year. I don't know. I think people should have the opportunity to watch it live from their homes or to watch it. But a month is plenty of time to talk about what current events we're talking about and email us or give us feedback or ask us questions.
Would, just frankly, I really don't care, to be honest, but would this be a happy medium if it's subject to because the policy doesn't have a date or deadline in it.
Right.
Would everybody be comfortable, subject to Marcy's discretion in conjunction with checking with whoever the chairperson is, which won't be me after, I got 1 month left, that's it, so it'll be somebody else. Is
So
that
I
fine?
just want to say, it's not that I'm saying that I want a year, I'm saying I wanted our board to discuss it. That's all I wanted. So I wanted everybody to kind of have their say, and then we decide like that.
I think a month is plenty of time.
Okay?
I don't even know what we discussed last month.
Well, then you could go back and watch it.
And Connor, can you hear me up there? Connor, how many we have watching right now? Just curious.
We have 6 concurrent viewers, 17 views, an average watch time of 11 minutes.
Thank you.
But 11, what'd you say, 11?
Your mom watching?
Views?
My mom is probably watching. My mom is probably one of those six, yes.
All right, well, we have to do the final read a month from now,
Yeah.
so.
I can add something in about time frame.
I don't think I would, I mean.
Just
I-
leave it?
I think I would,
I do
Leave
think
it.
a month is good. I feel like, I mean, we capture the meeting minutes. Those are really the official, if someone hasn't caught up in a month, are they really catching up? And if they are, I feel like our minutes are a good description of what's gone on, unless they want more information, and they're welcome to contact any of us at any time to get that information.
That's good, yeah.
well, for me, I would say, I would keep them, I mean, if it doesn't cost anything, who cares? Like, keep it there forever. However, I'd rather have it discretionary, so if there is some glitch, you could take it down in a day, you could take it down, like, who cares? Leave them in there as many years as you want, but if you're like, oh, no, there's some sensitive stuff in there or whatever, we don't want those there, that it was contentious, I don't think they should be on there, then take them down.
Okay.
But I mean, sounds like
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
unique, it
just for
sounds
me,
like the
though,
rest of you guys are thinking a month.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think
I
it should
think
be
that,
a
but
month.
that somewhat puts Marcy in a tough position. If something's contentious, then it's on
Right.
her call to make
Right.
that decision. I mean, I think if there's, privacy information that got out there that shouldn't be out there, then yes, we should have the ability to take it down for that reason. But, I mean,
So maybe it's best
putting it
not to
at
have a
people's
policy at
discretion
all.
is sometimes, I think,
leave it.
tough
No date?
place to put it. Yeah, I
Leave
think
it up
so.
there if there's a reason to pull it down.
But you understand what our thoughts are.
I do, yep.
All right. Moving along. Nick, your big moment.
Here. Same format as years before. I have my assistant moderators in place. Jim is going to be there again. We're going to start with the Boy Scouts, do their presentation of colors, do the pledge. Then we'll have some VHS students do the national anthem, do a song, and then I'll go over the introduction.
I think you need a mic.
Can we give him the handheld mic, please? Thank you.
Thank you, God.
For those 6 people, including your mom.
Can everybody hear me now? Be good. All right, so Boy Scouts, BHS students, and then I'll go through the introduction, the process, just remind everybody about how the meetings run, the rules, overview, and then we'll get into it, and we'll just start with Article 1, and we'll go from there. And I don't know if you guys want to go through and see who wants to motion, who wants to second, who's presenting.
We will.
Okay, cool.
Although we're doing a big shift. You haven't done that yet, I assume.
He's already filed it with the state, are you kidding me?
No. He's mentally prepared.
Not a big shift,
Like
that's too
that.
big a thing.
So I'll have to rewrite some stuff and refile, well, I haven't filed yet, but redo, the DRA form. But that's, that happens. We'll do that. That's pretty straightforward. I mean, the articles are all going to be the same. They're all going to be capital reserve fund funded articles. That's not a
Let me,
heavy lifting.
can I interrupt you for a second, Dwayne? So Article 10 in here, in front of you, we're going to break up every one of those into individual articles, every single one.
Sounds good.
So
I'll take note. Got it.
that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
So just so you have this, because you're going to vote here in a second, too. So the Budget Committee voted at their meeting after the hearing closed. They voted unanimously to recommend every article 7-0. And 9 of the 10 projects that were in Article 10 are also 7-0. The only exception is the lights on the Premier Field, and that was not recommended 5-2. So for me, I mean, I thought that was a very, I'm not surprised by how that went, but I was very, very pleased that the budget number is the same between the board and the budget committee, that they supported the work that was done on the 2 collective bargaining agreements. I think that was excellent, that those are unanimously recommended. So that's a lot of work that you all did as the board on those, and then the rest of them were no discussion as well.
So I don't remember really doing this like in public before. Every time we've done this, I've just like stood on the stage in a circle and somebody said like,
yeah, because
so how are we going to do this right
yeah, because technically that was a meeting.
Yeah.
We did do it, but we've never had the public or the budget hearing on the same night as the full school board meeting. You always had an additional school board meeting. So you can just go through kind of like you did there and just figure out who's doing which, and I'll write them down, and we'll.
Should we do
But you need to. The big thing is you need to vote to recommend, and what the vote is on all the warrant articles.
So should we vote on all of them first and then circle back to who's doing what?
That would be great.
And should we do the voting right now?
Yeah.
So
That would be great, too.
Do you have to make motions for all of them?
So you have the ability to lump them together. Like if you, I don't know if you know like how people are going to vote. I mean, the Budget Committee had a pretty good idea what they were going to do. You could say, you could lump a bunch of them together, vote all at once, or you could do them individually. However you
Only
want to.
lump them together if it's a unanimous vote.
Correct. That's right.
So, not a unanimous vote, you can't lump them together. You got to do one by one by one.
I mean, it's probably easy to just do them one by one. It's pretty easy to do.
But again, in my experience, I've never once had a board member not vote unanimously on all this in 9 years. So aren't we all going to vote unanimously on all of them? So we can just do one?
Together, so
Yeah. So
no one objected before today.
do I have a motion to approve all of the articles as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Second, any discussion on it before we vote? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving on, so now we can do the,
Who's doing what?
all right. Do you want to kind of guide that, or want me to?
So Article 2 is,
Because we've talked about it a little
Here we
bit.
go. So Article 2 is the budget article. Usually, that is done by the Budget Committee rep. And in the past, it's gone either way. I can just put somebody down who's going to do the second, or you can volunteer to do it, but. That's just more for Nick as the moderator, so he knows.
I've done all the seconding, I feel like.
I feel like you have to.
Yeah, I'm fine with seconding.
Article 3 is the BEA collective bargaining agreement.
So I'm happy to do that. And my only question is, do you want to divide up, one of us do BEA and one of us do BESS, or do you want me to do them both?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, well, let's divide them up then.
All right.
Would you rather do BEA or BESS?
I don't, okay, I'm in part.
I'll put Angela down for
Have
the
Angela
support
do-
staff.
Yeah. Okay.
Article 5 is the deposit of the restricted capital improvement fees collected from the Dunbarton students as part of the area agreement.
I think, didn't you do that last year, Melanie? You want to do it?
Sure.
6 is the other half of the fees, the unrestricted fees that we're going to use to do 2 projects, outdoor Wi-Fi and flooring upgrades at the Memorial School.
I can do that again this year, if you would like.
7 is the collection of the athletic fees and deposit into capital reserve.
I usually do that one, so you want to do it, Bryce, because you haven't done one?
I got a ton of them.
Oh, you do, that's right. I'll do that one, never mind.
8 is taking some of those fees and using them for dugouts and the things at the gym.
I can do both those.
What are you going to sign over that way?
Oh, wait, no, yes, that's what you guys should do.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Trevor.
Both of them.
Matt, but-
Do you want to do one too?
Do you want to do one too?
Are you sure? We're not trying to bully you into it at all.
We just realized last year at the meeting, like, we should have had.
If you
These are
want.
easy ones. This is like, we're going to take money that we collect anyway and put it in a fund, and then we're going to use that money for something.
Are you sure? Honestly, don't feel like you have, like, this, it's possible the whole room could be full of people. Like, does that bother you? Okay. All right. All right.
us with you.
Great.
You get us.
Trevor will.
So who's doing 7? 7?
Right, yeah.
Trevor's
Trevor?
gonna do 7.
Okay.
You should do Article 10.
Okay, 8. All right. 9 is,
I've got 9 through all those new ones. So up to.
19?
Yeah, 9 through 19 will be me.
9 through, wow, well, somebody's going to need to second, because you can't second
Yeah, I can
yourself.
second all those.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, so 9 through 19, meaning Article 10 is all separated out, so that
right.
would be 19.
So 10 becomes 10 through 19. He's doing the dugouts. 20 is the new tech E-rate expendable trust fund.
I think, Angela, you're light.
Yeah, sure, give me the tech one that I know nothing about. I'd be happy to do that, Bryce.
Budget.
He works in tech.
That's what
Martin
Martin
works in
I
tech.
won't even budget.
Yeah, Martin should do the techie one.
Martin, you should do the techie one. I
Does
feel
she
like.
have one?
Yes.
She does.
She's
Yeah,
doing
she has
it now.
one.
Sure, then I'll do that one.
And you know the budget is really Dwayne, so you're.
No, that's not true. So then that leaves us with the one that you haven't voted on and you don't present, which is now Article 21, the citizen petition article on live
Who
streaming.
presents that?
The petitioner,
Okay.
right? So the head petitioner,
So-
there is a head petitioner listed,
Yeah.
which I'll make sure I have that person's name to Matt, but any of the 25 people who sign the petition article can present the article. It's not your article
But then
to
we
present.
have to have somebody say, we've already passed a policy, or,
We don't have to.
well, no,
You-
but shouldn't we? Or should we, because otherwise we vote. on this and
Can we
pass
do
it.
that? I mean,
Well, you would ask to be recognized like any other
Right, like us.
person.
can you recognize one of us? Although we should probably have somebody.
Well, then we
Talk
should
about it.
probably have it printed, no? So that people compare the two.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I
Yeah, yeah.
just think
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, we should.
to be thorough.
When we put together the
The packet.
PowerPoint, yes,
Yeah.
PowerPoint for the meeting, we'll put the article up there. And, I mean, one of the things that could be the second slide is the policy.
Yeah.
And just say,
Let's do that.
But you do have to vote whether you recommend or not recommend that article.
oh, right.
You have to vote on that. You haven't voted on that one.
Okay.
You don't, right?
We don't, because we already have a policy. I mean, I
Right.
don't mean to speak for everybody.
I agree.
All
I
right,
don't.
should we vote on that then?
On
Right
Article
now?
21, it'll be Article 21.
It's 21, according to my informal number.
Angela, Melanie, how do you guys feel?
Yeah, I would say no. We've already got a policy, so we don't need it.
So I guess we need a motion to vote on it that we will, sounds like, reject. So somebody
All
want
right,
to
I'll
have
make a motion to vote on Article 21.
And you want to second
Second.
that? And then,
All in favor?
anyone disagree? All right. All in wait, all in,
be.
All in
so if you say,
favor?
if you say
Everybody who votes
yes,
to
you're going to
recommend.
support it. So
Correct.
So are you voting to recommend first and then not recommend second? So
all in favor of recommending the Article 21, say aye. Any opposed?
Yes.
Aye. Opposed, have it.
So just so you clarify, because this can get confusing for people, this is how I've always done it. So that will say, not recommended by the school board, 5-0.
Yeah.
That will be what it says, so.
Okay.
Can we put it like not recommended because we have created a
No,
policy?
you cannot do
Say that.
that.
We-
Okay,
You can only put down what the petition article is, with any clerical or, kind of spelling or, doesn't change the petition article. Substantive, good, that's good, thank you. Yes, and then just your recommend or not recommend vote, that's the warrant article. You can't editorialize it because it was a petitioned article by the citizens.
Will there how does it become clear who is speaking about this? Someone will get in touch with Nick?
So what I'll provide to Nick is I'll provide the chief petitioner's name. And I would think, what I've seen in the past is that the moderator would say, I recognize that person to speak on the article. And if that person's not here or not present at the meeting, then someone else is supposed to speak on it who has signed the petition. So hopefully one of those people is planning on being there. I know who that is, so I can contact them and just make sure they're aware that that's what's the process.
Is it a secret, or?
No, it's Matt Poulin.
So shouldn't we reach out to him and?
I can do that.
If he's interested, okay.
Yeah, I can do that.
Maybe provide him the policy that we're about to pass and see
He
if he
might
still
be
wants.
one of the 6 people watching, right?
I can do all of those things. I mean, when the petition came to me, he's the one who sent it, so I'll get back to him that it's warrant Article 21. This was the,
Or does he have to present it?
you can't withdraw it.
Okay, so even if there's policy, you can't withdraw it.
Right, it's just more to let the taxpayers know, like, we worked with the School Board Association, and we came up with a policy that likely works better for us as a board.
after the petition, after the explanation.
Yeah.
Unless he looks at what we did and says, oh,
Can't, though.
No, you can't.
You can't.
withdraw it.
no, not withdraw it, but when he comes to the podium, he says, hey, I know I presented this, but circumstances have changed. Clearly, the school board's addressed this issue.
Right.
This is moot, in my opinion.
Don't
No
vote
need to
for it.
have it.
Yeah.
Be that as it may, we still vote.
Yeah, you could just do an amendment and amend the policy with the policy that you guys have. So he drafted something and then motion for an amendment.
Can anybody make the motion for an amendment? So I could have, like, if somebody, I can't. It has to be somebody from the floor. I can't.
Probably could, but
I think.
It's not your article.
I'm sure that's good form.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
all right.
But you're going to have that printed, Marcy, like under here.
And just to let you guys know, because you two haven't done this before, it's pretty straightforward. Dwayne gives us a PowerPoint presentation. The slide will have the article on it, so you'll essentially read the article, and then people will ask questions, although nobody ever asks questions about these, and, well, knock on wood, and for you guys, we'll help you answer if they do. And then,
Yes.
that's essentially
No, you
it.
guys can handle it.
And if there's any narrative to go with it, Dwayne usually puts that in a PowerPoint, too.
Maybe a slide, informative slide.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you can also go and ask Dwayne, which I have done in the past, and he will educate you about like the innermost workings of all this stuff.
This is great.
That you can put on your resume on LinkedIn.
Of every meeting. Like, this is just great.
Oh, good one, yeah.
Nick, anything else, or Dwayne, anything else to add?
I don't think so. I don't have it.
I don't have anything. Dwayne and I went over what we're going to use for voting. We'll do, for majority vote, we'll just do the colorful cards and the wristbands, and then, if anybody puts in a secret ballot vote for anything, we'll have that ready to go. So I think business as usual.
Excellent. All right. Moving on? Yeah? All right. Great. Any public comment? Any public comment? All right.
Where's Judson?
Must be tied up.
I know. You can make it on Thursdays, not Mondays.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's right. One of his kids has it.
Usually administration leaves if you so choose. See ya.
Bye.
Hi, thank you.
Right, I've told you that before. He was an extra in Ted. Movie
Really?
Ted. Yeah. The Flash Gordon party scene.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he listed in the credits? Does he have
I
an
believe so.
IMDb?
I think he is in the credits. He was an extra. I mean, he didn't make, I don't think he spoke. He didn't have a speaking role. I like that movie. That movie's really funny.
That's the bear, right?
Yeah.
That's the teddy bear.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of watching that with my mother-in-law.
That would be a mistake. That would be a mistake.
Yeah.
All right. Policy, I feel like we just talked about what we've done. I assume probably we're kind of on hold on policy till probably April, I assume.
Probably, because once we go through the guide, it's pretty lengthy guidance from New Hampshire School Board for Title IX.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, though. We probably should move fairly quickly on doing.
So again, we just got it today. I doubt for March. I doubt we'll have it for March. We want to check with our association too to see if they're going to be putting anything out. We have time. There's in terms of number of days to implement it.
Okay. Excellent. Negotiations, feel like we've,
Good, yep.
great job, again. Nice that everybody seems to agree. Budget, I don't feel like you probably have much more to talk about. Town CIP, district CIP, all discussed. Wellness,
No, nothing.
future-ready schools,
We haven't met.
transportation. You touched on it tonight.
We did touch on
Yeah.
it tonight. I'm going to let that go.
New Hampshire School Board Association.
Just a lot going on, a lot of bills.
There's a lot going on, why?
Yeah.
I can put the little update in the minutes if people want the update.
Yeah.
I'm not going through the legislative package.
Yeah.
Everything is on fire.
Right, right.
There's probably not going to be public education.
Athletic improvements and funding, nothing to add. Booster Club? Any public comment? Hearing none. Bottom lines for Marcy. Anyone have anything? I do. Sitting here tonight, I recognize that each of these seats has a gold plate with somebody's name on them.
I noticed that too, and I'd never
I've
seen
never
it
seen that
before. Yeah.
before.
I never had either, and
Yeah.
I noticed it, but I don't think they all do.
They don't all.
Yeah, but I
this
think I've
one
never
does.
sat in one that did, but I did.
Yeah.
tonight.
Does anyone, got a few from the school over here too, does anybody know what the story is with that? Oh, let's hear it.
So back when the school was built, there was a fundraising for the arts that was done, and it was called Buy a Seat. I think it was what it was called, BHS, Buy a Seat, something like that. And we had a separate fund, we accumulated all of those funds, and then we've since used that for upgrades to the auditorium. So that's what that was. And they weren't all sold, and it predates me by a few years, but I inherited the fund that had some money in it, and then so as some auditorium stuff came up, we used that for that, and then we exhausted what was fundraised.
We should bring it back.
Oh,
Sell some more seats.
Could we look, you can barely make out the names, like, could we look into cleaning that up? I mean, if somebody paid for that seat with the expectation it would last forever, you can tell what it says, it's just hard to see, hard to tell what it says. But, I don't know if just cleaning them with something or,
Little brass cleaner?
Something.
We can.
all right.
And can we auction off the other seats?
Can we auction them off?
Yeah. I don't know how much a seat goes for.
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
mean, Connor has a lot of needs and wants for this place.
I'm just going to throw
I'm
something.
excited.
For the auditorium?
Can I just say also, maybe that we have a way of getting staff to come to our meetings by saying if they make every meeting in a year, they get a seat named after them. Just saying, thinking outside the box.
What are the plaques, the nip tags?
Yeah. Anything else?
I had one thing. Marcy, in preparation for the annual meeting, is every administrator encouraging the teachers that live in Bow to attend the meeting?
Yep. So Joe and I think Joe's still here, yeah. We meet monthly, actually we meet tomorrow morning. And we talk about that, and we've seen more teachers here. I think there was a dozen here tonight. And so I've gone to their staff meetings as well. BMS is next week, but that's the last one to go to say exactly that, like come support the process. So I'm hopeful that they show up.
So,
Yeah, right. We didn't tell anyone how to vote. Just come. It's
yeah,
a good time. Right.
it's a good time. Is that what you're telling them? I have one thing too, Marcy, is I was just wondering if maybe we could work with boosters or even just talk about this, about the way that we get the funding where we charge people tickets at the door for certain games for certain sports. And my concern is for people who, financially, it could be a burden, like to go to every one of their kids' games, that I know they said, like, you're welcome to, like, they'll let them in. But this is the thing, is that when you don't have a lot of money, there's pride there. And they're going to know that people are going to notice that they're always walking in without money. And they're going to be worried what people are going to say about them. And I'm thinking if we're just a little bit empathetic to that, that we could, or sympathetic if you've never experienced it, but maybe consider another way where we can still come up with the money. Like, so if you don't have an issue, you could easily pay up front for the season, or...
Suggestion for that, possibly. So the sports that we charge for all have seasons passes. If we've got students that are getting financial assistance or getting their fee waived, maybe we could just give those parents season passes for that, and then they have the season's pass that looks no different than anyone else. There's no way to do it. We can just give that to the parent.
I love that idea.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Not our call, though.
Right.
Yeah, that's-
I'll bring
that's
it
really-
to the boosters.
No,
Yeah, I'll
but
bring it to the
I
boosters. But I think
just-
that that's a good solution, that we're not having anyone stand
love
out, not having to ask. But I'll bring it to boosters at the next meeting.
Thank you, Angela.
You're welcome.
Anything else? No? Gentlemen, that's it?
All right.
Senioritis over here.
I know, he's checked out. 14th, right?
Oh, also, yeah, if you guys have something going on that night, don't feel like you have to.
No, I'm just going to say, Jenna and I are both up for reelection, and there's somebody else going for our seat, so this could be our last one. It is our last one before the election, but March 14th is my birthday, so if anybody wants, I like chocolate cake with chocolate frosting, extra frosting.
Matthew, are you going to run again?
Probably.
Yeah, good. Oh. We'll try. Well, I'm glad you're coming back, Matthew, but you need a replacement.
I think if this
Trevor's
goes,
not gonna come back
I think if this goes well, we're going to give you harder and harder ones to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
If- if-
the budget.
But who's going to be mean to a kid?
Yeah, sure.
Trevor's gone, Trevor's gone.
That's a good strategy.
Who's presenting?
Trevor's like, you know what, Matthew would really love.
Debate club or something too, right? Trevor, are you on like debate club or something like that?
Well, Model UN is sort of like that. And
Oh, interesting.
Trevor, turn on.
We might have to talk about some rearranging of which ones are done.
debate it. Who's going to argue?
Give him the light.
Anything for non-public? I assume no, right? All right, do we have a motion? Do
Make a motion.
Oh, wait, what?
we have a second?
Are you, do you have
Before we
something?
adjourn? Oh.
Oh, okay. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Have a good evening.
So that's the signature page.